All right, so Tesla, right? They had this whole We Robot event, and it's got everyone talking. But who's got time to sit through hours of presentations? We're going to break it all down for you. And it's not just about cool robots, though there's plenty of that. This is about how Tesla sees the future of getting around cheaper, easier, and greener.
Yeah, they really lay out their vision at the event, which, by the way, was live streamed on October 10th. They're talking about a world where robots are doing everything from your grocery shopping to driving you to work.
Sign me up for the grocery shopping robot. But
Yeah.
seriously, let's start with the Tesla bot. The one that's supposed to be tackling all those chores we hate. What's the latest on that?
Well, it's designed for those everyday tasks, like you said, the ones we'd all rather avoid. But the really cool stuff is the tech behind it. They're making huge strides in AI, like neural networks that actually learn like our brains do.
Okay, now that's what I'm talking about. How do they actually get these things to work? So how close are we at having a Tesla bot butler in every home?
Well, not quite there yet, even though the progress is pretty amazing. They showed the bot doing things like navigating obstacles, recognizing objects, even responding to simple commands.
Sounds promising.
It is, but it's a big jump from a demo to a robot that can fold your laundry as well as you or I can.
Okay, so maybe hold off on that robot uprising for now. But it's clear Tesla's got bigger plans than just our homes, right? Let's talk about the Robotaxi, because honestly, who needs the stress of driving when you can have a robot do it for you?
Right. Imagine just summoning a car with your phone, but instead of a driver, it's this self-driving vehicle ready to take you wherever you need to go. Tesla's whole idea with the Robotaxi is to make transportation super efficient and accessible for everyone. They're betting that hailing a Robotaxi will eventually be cheaper and more convenient than owning a car.
I can get behind that. Think about it. Fewer cars on the road, less need for parking lots, maybe even a little less road rage. But how realistic is all of this? I mean, what are the roadblocks they need to overcome to make this a reality?
The technology is definitely moving fast, but the bigger challenges are about the world we live in, not just the tech itself.
Like what?
Well, for one, you've got regulations. Governments need to figure out clear rules for self-driving cars on public roads. And then there's the whole issue of public perception.
You mean, will people actually trust a robot to drive them around?
Exactly. It's a big ask for a lot of people to give up control like that.
Yeah.
It's one thing to trust a robot with your dishes, but trusting it with your life in traffic, that's a whole other level.
It really is. Okay, so before we get too deep into robotaxis, let's switch gears for a minute and talk about the Robovan. This one seems a little more familiar, right? We already have delivery trucks everywhere, so what makes the Robovan different?
It's not just about delivering stuff, it's about making the whole system, the supply chain, way more efficient. This electric van is all about optimization, better routes, using less energy, and lower operating costs.
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
And those savings, they could mean lower prices for everyone on pretty much everything.
Now, that's what I call a good ripple effect. But this is Tesla we're talking about, a company known for pushing the boundaries. Did they give any hints about how they plan to take this whole efficiency thing even further?
Oh, absolutely. They always have those deep dives into the tech, and this event was no exception. See, We Robot wasn't just about showing off the robots, it was about the technology that makes them work in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, so what they unveil, what kind of tech makes these robots tick?
Well, the core of it all is something they call full self-driving, or
Yeah.
FSD. They've been developing it for a while, but at this event, they showed some serious progress.
FSD, right. What kind of progress are we talking
We're talking about big advancements in computer vision. Think of it as AI that can not only see, but actually understand its surroundings.
Okay, yeah.
They showed how their cars use all those cameras and sensors to create a 3D map of everything around them so they can identify objects, predict movement, even make split-second decisions in real time.
Wow. It's one thing to hear about self-driving cars, but to really grasp how complex that technology is, it's mind-blowing. It's like your car is thinking for itself.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that's why they spend so much time talking about their neural networks, which, to put it simply, are algorithms that basically work like our brains do. These networks let the vehicles learn from tons of data gathered from millions of miles driven by Teslas already on the road.
So it's like having a million robot drivers all learning from each other's experiences and getting smarter all the time. That's wild. But didn't they tie all of this back to sustainability? I'm trying to see how self-driving cars and robots lead to a greener planet.
Right, yeah. It all comes down to efficiency. They made a pretty strong case for it. Just think, a world with way fewer cars on the road, each one designed to use as little energy as possible. They even had simulations showing how robotaxis could talk to each other to avoid traffic and reduce congestion.
Okay, so less time stuck in traffic jams, less fuel burned, less pollution overall. I get it. But let's be real. Are we talking about a complete transformation of our roads and infrastructure here? That seems a little idealistic, even for Tesla, doesn't it?
It's definitely ambitious.
Mm.
But here's the thing about Tesla. They're not just selling cars or robots. They're selling a vision.
Hmm.
And that vision really resonated with people. The media coverage was huge. Everyone was talking about the potential impact of this technology.
So what was the overall reaction? Were people buying into it, or is there some skepticism mixed in? I mean, it does sound pretty incredible, and yeah, I'm sure there were some people wondering if it's all a bit too much, too fast. Are we really ready for a future where machines are driving us around, doing our chores?
That's the big question, right? The technology is definitely spreading ahead, but the rest of the world, well, it moves a little slower. Our laws, how we see things, even just getting comfortable with the idea, all of that takes time. And that's where the really interesting discussions start to happen, I think.
So it's not really a matter of if this technology is coming, but when and how we adapt to it. What are some of the key takeaways you think people should be thinking about after this event?
Well, I think Tesla really wants us to think about how this tech could change our whole relationship with transportation. You know, what if owning a car wasn't about status or even necessity, but more about choice?
I like the sound of that.
Right. And what if your commute could be a chance to actually get work done or relax instead of just stressful time wasted in traffic? And then on top of that, imagine a world where getting things delivered is way more efficient and affordable for everyone.
It's a pretty compelling vision, I've got to admit. But it can't all be sunshine and roses, right? There have to be some potential downsides we need to be thinking about, too.
Well, absolutely. And some of those concerns definitely came up in the reactions to the event. Like, what happens to all the people who drive for a living if automation takes over? That's a big one. And then there's the whole ethical side of things. Like, how do we make sure these AI systems are making fair and safe decisions in every situation? These are really complex questions that go way beyond just the technology itself.
Yeah, it's a lot to process, and honestly, it's a conversation we all need to be having, from the people creating the technology to the governments making the rules to everyone else.
Exactly. We Robot wasn't just Tesla showing off new gadgets. It was like a challenge, you know?
Yeah.
To imagine a future where technology makes our lives better and to really think critically about how to navigate the challenges that come with it.
To upgrade our own thinking, maybe, to
Yeah.
keep up with the technology. Well, you've given us a lot to think about, that's for sure. As we wrap up this deep dive, is there one last thought you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I'd say this. Don't just focus on the robots themselves. Think about what this technology could mean for all of us, both good and bad. Talk to people, ask the hard questions, and remember, the future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we all create together.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into Tesla's We Robot event. We hope this episode has given you a better understanding of not only what Tesla's building, but why it matters to all of us. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.